like to play Mridanga? We need a whole orchestra. We also need some cartels and can take some wampas, whatever you like. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shishi Radha Madhava Ki Jaya Om Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Stotra Sata His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. It's a service here, you get even warm water. Is it very hot?
No, mittelmäßig.
Sri Jagannath Baladev Subha Maharani Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Narayam Namaskrityam Naram Jeva Narotamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Chayam Mudirayet Nashtapeshu Abhateshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhagavati Naishtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna, good morning everyone. Before we continue our reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you for being here today. I feel very fortunate to be back in New Jagannath Puri. It's a very special place. If you travel a little bit around in the world and you come back here, then you feel that atmosphere of family, of community. That's always very pleasant. And I'd like to express my gratitude to all of you for keeping this temple so nice and enthusiastic and inspiring. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from the 4th canto. This is chapter 23, text 58. Please repeat after me. Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Bhuta Prakriti Avyaya
Bhuta Prakriti Avyaya
Bhuta Prakriti Avyaya
Bhuta Prakriti Avyaya
Shakt Adisha Pumam Stvata
Shakti Adisha Pumam Stvata
Shakti Adisha Pumam Stvata
Shakti Adisha Pumam Stvata
Bhavishto Nava Bhutyate
Bhavishto Nava Bhutyate
Bhavishto Nava Bhutyate
Bhavishto Nava Bhutyate
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Bhuta Prakriti Avyaya
Bhuta Prakriti Avyaya
Shakti Adisha Pumam Stvata
Shakti Adisha Pumam Stvata
Bhavishto Nava Bhutyate
Bhavishto Nava Bhutyate.
Would you like to recite the verse?
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti Bhuta Prakriti Avyaya
Shaktirisha Pumastatra
Shaktirisha Pumastatra Pravishtonavabhudyate Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Buddha Prakritiya Avyaya
Buddha Prakriti Avyaya
Shakti Adisha Pumamstvatra
Shakti Adisha Pumamstvatra
Pravishtonavabhudyate
Pravishtonavabhudyate.
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Buddha Prakriti Avyaya
Buddha Prakriti Avyaya
Shakti Adisha Pumamstvatra
Shakti Adisha Pumamstvatra
Pravishtonavabhudyate
Pravishtonavabhudyate.
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Vipanastu Kriya Shakti
Buddha Prakriti Avyaya
Buddha Prakriti Avyaya
Shakti Adisha Pumamstvatra
Shakti Adisha Pumamstvatra
Pravishtonavabhudyate.
Pravishtonavabhudyate. Thank you. Also like to especially welcome Hanuman Prabhu. I think you all know him because he's maybe one of the most steady participants in Mayapur TV of the ISKCON New Jagannath Puri channel. So I guess you saw his name already, you heard him asking questions, and today he's live here. Thank you for coming. Vipanaha,
Vipanaha
stores.
Stores
Two, then. Kriya Shakti,
Kriya Shakti
the energy for activities
the energy of activities
or the working senses.
of the working senses
Bhuta,
Buddha
the five cross elements.
elements
Prakriti,
Prakriti
the material elements.
material elements
Avyaya,
Avyaya
eternal.
eternal
Shakti,
Shakti
the energy.
energy
Adishaha,
Adisha
controller.
controller
Bhuman,
Bhumam
man.
man
Two.
Two
We had this before, who remembers? Then.
the
Then.
other
Atra,
Atra
here.
here
Bhavishtaha,
Pravishtaha
entered.
entered
Na,
Na
does not.
does not
Avadbhudyate,
Avadbhudyate
becomes subjected to knowledge.
becomes subjected to
In
knowledge.
translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. So let me quickly check if we are all in tune with the language. Versteht jemand kein Englisch? English? Good. English? Good. Ruski? Translation? Perfect. Translation. The five stores are the five working sensory organs. They transact their business to the combined forces of the five elements, which are eternal. Behind all this activity is the soul. The soul is a person and an enjoyer in reality. However, because he is now hidden within the city of the body, he is devoid of knowledge. Purport. The living entity enters the material creation with the aid of the five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And thus his body is formed. Although the living entity is working from within, he is nonetheless unknown. The living entity enters the material creation, but because he is bewildered by the material energy, he appears to be hidden. The bodily conception of life is prominent because of ignorance. Navabhudyate. Intelligence is described in the feminine gender, but owing to her prominence in all activities, she is described in this verse as Adisha, the controller. The living entity lives by means of fire, water, and food grains. It is through the combination of these three that the body is maintained. Consequently, the body is called Prakriti, material creation. all the elements gradually combine to form flesh, bone, blood, and so on. All these appear as various apartments. It is said in the Vedas that the digested foods are ultimately divided into three. The solid portion becomes stool, and the semi-liquid portion turns into flesh. The liquid portion turns yellow and is again divided into three. One of these liquid portions is called urine. Similarly, the fiery portion is divided into three, and one is called bone. Out of the 5 elements, fire, water, and food grains are very important. These 3 are mentioned in the previous verse, whereas sky, ether, and air are not mentioned. This is all explained in Bhagavad Gita 13:20. Prakritim purusham jaiva vitya nadi upafapi vikaramscha gunamscha vidi prakriti sambhavan. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Prakriti, material nature, and Purusha, the living entity, are eternal. When they both come into contact, there are different reactions and manifestations. All of them should be considered the results of the interaction of the 3 modes of material nature. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Darati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakachatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sachivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parichana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Rata Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripe Vanchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vipanastu Kriya Shakti Bhutta Prakriti Avyaya Shakti Adisha Pumam Stvata Pravishto Nava Bhujyate. The 5 stores are the 5 working sensory organs. They transact the business through the combined forces of the 5 elements, which are eternal. Behind all this activity is the soul. The soul is a person and an enjoyer in reality. However, because he is now hidden within the city of the body, he is devoid of knowledge. Until what time will the class go? 8:30. Thank you. So the living entity, when he or she comes in contact with the material energy, one becomes covered with different layers of ignorance. And these layers, they manifest our gross body and our subtle body. And in this way, we, the living being, the eternal spiritual soul, we are not able anymore to perceive our eternal existence, because we see or experience the world through these different layers of ignorance or material manifestations. Now, when Srila Prabhupada stressed the point that we are not the body, we are an eternal soul, then after hearing it repeatedly, we may have some kind of theoretical understanding of it. We can understand it intellectually. But the question is, have we actually realized it? Do we experience ourselves as the soul? What do you think? I'm most of the time forgetful about my eternal existence, and I'm so busy with the world and feel more like on a platform of bodily consciousness, because I'm acting with my senses, I'm engaging my mind, my intelligence, and I'm a little bit bewildered by all these energies which I have to confront every day. Now here's the problem. Because according to our identity, we have a certain process of thinking, feeling and willing. Usually we attribute these three activities to the mind. We say the function of the mind is to think, to feel and to desire. But actually that's the quality of the soul. So the pure soul is also full of thoughts, full of feelings and full of desires. But because of this ignorance which we experience in our conditioned state, we see that through the mirror of the mind. So our consciousness is polluted by these different energies. And therefore our thinking, feeling and willing is polluted or is perceived through our material mind. If we find this switch, if we are able to change that identity, then our life experience will change completely. We will have a completely different experience of life. Because according to our thinking, feeling and willing, we will act in this world. And if we do something repeatedly, this becomes a habit. It's like a second nature. It happens automatically. You just do it without any conscious thought about it. And our actions, they lead to certain results. Which means, according to our actions, we shape our future identity. So if we can make that switch, if we change our identity, actually we don't have to change our identity because we are eternal, the soul, but we have to change our perception of the soul. And acting from the identity of the soul, then we have a completely different experience in this world. Then Krishna consciousness is a perceived reality. It's an actual reality. Now that's the challenge, and therefore you would like to speak today a little bit about experiencing the soul. Do you think this is a good topic? Good. So a theoretical understanding will not help us. Because how many times we have heard that we are not a body, that we are an eternal spiritual soul. And we may have heard it so many times that we actually don't hear it anymore. Srila Prabhupada, no, I didn't take the book, maybe I have it here. Srila Prabhupada, in his purport to text 26 in the 33rd chapter of the 3rd canto, just let me read this to you. Srila Prabhupada makes a very important statement. A statement in relation to how do we approach Krishna conscious philosophy. And there he says, when one theoretically discusses the absolute truth, he becomes situated in the impersonal concept of the absolute truth. That's a warning. Srila Prabhupada gives us a warning here. If we try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead intellectually, then we may end up in an impersonal conception of the Supreme Person. Srila Prabhupada continues. Similarly, when one seriously discusses the subject matter of the form, qualities, pastimes and entourage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes situated in meditation on Him. Now, here Srila Prabhupada gives the antidote. So how we should approach the Supreme Person. How should hear about the Supreme Person. And he says we should seriously discuss on the name, the form, the qualities and pastimes of the Lord. And then we will enter into a meditation on him. Now, the philosophical investigation of the absolute truth is also called tattva vichar. Tattva means the truth, and vichar, the Sanskrit word, means something like you approach it in an analytical way, an intellectual process. And this is what Srila Prabhupada is stressing here, that if we remain on that platform, then there's a risk that we become overwhelmed by knowledge. We get some indigestion. In the Brihad Uranya Upanishad is a process given how we should approach transcendental knowledge, which starts with hearing, shravanam. This is what we do every day, at least when we come here together for Srimad Bhagavatam class. So it starts with hearing. And the second step, whatever we've heard, we should reflect on. We should come to a deeper understanding that in the third step we have a practical means how to apply that knowledge. It's called nididhyasanam. You can see it in an analogy like if you take food, if you take prasadam. So the first thing, you have to put it into your mouth. You have to get some contact. Then you have to chew. You have to reflect a little bit on it before you swallow it and start to digest. And when you start to digest, it becomes a part of you. That's what's described here also in this purport, that the living entity lives by means of earth, water and fire. So whatever we hear intellectually, but then we have to go into a deeper process of reflection. And Srila Prabhupada, he stresses here that we should enter into a meditation when we hear about the Lord. Now, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the whole first canto is about adhika, to define the qualification of the speaker and the hearer. So if we study the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we will have the right attitude how to approach the second, third, and so forth cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, in the 13th verse of the first chapter, the formula is given for the sincere hearer and speaker. And there Shukadev Goswami says that a sincere, or the audience, should be eager to hear. How eager are you to hear Srimad Bhagavatam? There should be no alternative than hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from 7:30 till 8:30. You should be eager, you should have some greed to be here every day. Because we recited a verse in the beginning, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and the description is giving, the meaning is that daily we should be in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam. So as the audience, as the hearer, we should be very eager. Then several qualifications are given for the speaker. Now, you have to test me if I'm really qualified to sit here. The bona fide speaker should come in a disciplic succession, which is authorized. That's the first criteria. The second is that the speaker should have compassion, that by speaking Krishna Katha, to relieve the suffering of the living beings. And the speaker should have unflinching faith in the glories and the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the last quality, the speaker should also be eager and enthusiastic to speak about Krishna. Especially it's mentioned about Krishna's pastimes. So when we develop the proper attitude for hearing and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, then we can seriously discuss on the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, and through the process of reflection, enter into a meditation on the Supreme Lord. The second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam speaks all about sadhana. Sadhana, the process or activities which brings us to the satya, to the ultimate goal. Now, in the second canto, Shukadeva Goswami, he establishes Bhakti Yoga as the topmost process. So therefore, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we focus on the process of Bhakti Yoga, which is established in the Srimad Bhagavatam as the topmost process. This morning we read about the different relationships we can have with Krishna in the nectar of devotion. So when we start to speak about Bhakti, Bhakti is all about relationship. Bhakti is about establishing or re-establishing our eternal relationship with Krishna, which can be in different rasas or different sentiments or mellows. And the nectar of devotion describes 5 primary rasas, which is neutral, as a servant, as a friend, as a parent, and as a lover. So these 5 primary rasas are like the focus of our meditation, beginning with dasya. Because dasya, or being a servant of the Lord, is the underlying principle of all the other rasas. Without first having been established proper again in our service attitude to the Lord, we cannot get any experience of any of the other rasas. And this topic of rasa is very much stressed in the Nectar of Devotion, or in the original work Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. And Srila Rupa Goswami's aim is to establish Madhurya Rasa as the topmost rasa or relationship we can have with Krishna. And this is something which Srila Prabhupada, right from the beginning of his teachings, established also as the essence. If you look in Srimad Bhagavatam, the first verse, and Srila Prabhupada's purport to it, it's very interesting because Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur, he gave 5 different meanings on this verse. And actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he lectured for 3 months, morning and evening, on this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Which means this is an ocean, this is unlimited. Yeah? Why? Because everything is in this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. All the essence we can extract from this one verse. And what is interesting, because Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur, in his 5 explanations, he starts from a, let's say, from an external perspective, where he speaks about the modes of material nature and how we have to transcend them. And he ends his 5th explanation with the most intimate relationships between Radha and Krishna. Now, what does Srila Prabhupada do in his purport? He jumps directly to the 5th explanation of Vishnava Chakravarti Thakur. And he established the Adi Rasa, the primal or original rasa, which is Madhurya Rasa, as the means of Srimad Bhagavatam. And he says in the conclusion of his purport, this Srimad Bhagavatam will gradually elevate the unbiased reader to the highest perfectional stage of transcendence. So by sincerely and with eagerness approaching the Srimad Bhagavatam, we become gradually purified. And we advance on the path of liberation, and it said, Tajyoshanda apavagavatmani, Prada Ratya Bhakti Anukamishati. So when we are in the association of devotees and hear about Krishna's pastimes, then that's very pleasing to the ear and to the heart. Satam prasangam avya samvido. And when we become purified in that association, then our faith will increase. And through the stronger faith which we develop, we will develop attraction to hearing, and to hearing about Krishna's pastimes. And when this attraction is strong enough, then actually real devotion starts. So there's a whole process how through the service to the Srimad Bhagavatam we become purified to experience real bhakti or real devotion. And this is the purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Each work, like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the Vedic literature has a Paribhasa Sutra. The Paribhasa Sutra is like the essential verse of this work. It's this one verse which usually appears right in the beginning, which defines the ultimate purpose of this scripture. Which means when there may be some different statements, they should always be seen in relation to the Paribhasa Sutra. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find the Paribhasa Sutra in Adi Lila, first chapter, text number 4. And this verse establishes the confidential appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there it said, "He has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before. The most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellows of conjugal love." Now, Srila Prabhupada, he does not give a purport to this verse, but he spoke on several occasions in his lectures on this verse. And there was a Bhagavad Gita lecture on the 10th of February 1974, where Srila Prabhupada elaborately spoke about this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there he says, everyone has got some relationship with Krishna, but the highest topmost relationship is Madhurya Rasa. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came for this purpose, to establish ourselves again in our relationship with Krishna and show the supremacy of Madhurya Rasa. Now, usually we're not speaking about that topic so much because it's something very confidential. But because we're speaking here of the nature of the soul, we heard this morning about the different relationships we can have with Krishna. We should be clear what is actually the goal of this Krishna conscious movement. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave us access to that mood or that love of the residents of Vrindavan. And sometimes, so it happens that devotees start to give some interpretation and establish some kind of different goals as the ultimate means of this Krishna consciousness movement, which is not correct. Because following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we should understand what's the conclusion of his mission and his teachings. So what we're speaking about is pure devotion. And pure devotion is established again by Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as Anyapilashita Shunyam Gyan Kamat Anavritam Anukulyana Krishnano Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. He gives 3 qualifications, actually 4, for pure devotional service. And there he says one has to be free from all selfish motivations. One has to be free from mental speculation and fruitive activities. And one should perform one's service to Krishna favorably, which is Anukulyena, and should perform that devotional service as Krishna desires, Krishna Anushilanam. So when we speak about pure devotion, this is not just in sentiment. Like, we cannot artificially put ourselves into a kind of relationship with Krishna which is not revealed to us yet. Therefore, the safest place in devotional service is I'm an eternal servant of the Lord. And by sticking to the process, Sri Jagannath Baladev Subramani Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. And by sticking to the process of devotional service, especially the process of hearing and chanting, our heart becomes gradually purified and our relationship with Krishna becomes revealed. This is something which happens It's not something which someone tells you and then you start to behave like this. That would be sentimental. Yeah. This is the process of devotional service as given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we gradually become purified and we become re-established in our eternal relationship with the Lord. And then we spoke about the identification of the soul, then real devotion actually starts. When we are beyond of the influences of the material modes of nature and experience that bliss of devotional service, then we know we are at the right place. And that's a process. And I'm not well prepared, this was very spontaneous today. Therefore I would like to open it for discussion. And please feel invited to share your thoughts. Maybe you have some questions and comments. So the floor is yours. Do you all agree with what I said? Otherwise, please challenge me. What have you understood?
Yeah. Yeah.
What have you understood today?
That I have even more questions than I thought I would have.
Okay, start with your first.
In the beginning, right in the beginning, you said something with like regarding the soul, and you said he or she. But then I have to put, from what I know, that the soul doesn't has like a gender, right? Or does it? Or I don't know. Yeah, that's the question.
The soul doesn't have a gender, but the soul has a relationship with the Lord. And the Lord, He is the only male, and we are all female.
He's the Purusha. Right?
Yes, He's the Purusha, we are Prakriti. Yes. Your second question.
I have to think a little bit.
Okay, you have some time. You have some time to think about it.
To formulate it.
Any more thoughts?
How is one's Siddha Swarup, one's eternal form, revealed to oneself? We can speculate, but that's not the process.
No,
revealed.
Speculation will not help. There are two processes, and we, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, we accept one of them. One of them is Siddha Pranali, which means you receive initiation into your eternal Swarup. Meaning that one devotee who should be very advanced helps you to understand your eternal relationship with Krishna. Now, I may be a very beginner, and I just heard I'm a peacock in Vrindavan, but I don't have any feelings in that direction. So it's just some mental imposition which I put on myself. And then I start to behave in a strange way until I have a complete identity crisis. So that's a bona fide process, but which is not practiced within our Sampradaya. The way how Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed it is through the process of hearing and chanting. By being engaged in devotional service, we become gradually purified, and it will be revealed. It will be revealed from inside. It's something which is like an automatic process, we can say. But it happens according to adhika, according to qualification. So therefore we said our devotional service begins on the platform of dasya, as a servant. And this mood will dominate all other relationships with Krishna. So that's the safe way, that's the mature way how to approach it. Yeah? Because according to one's qualification, there is revelation. But this can be a long process, yeah? Therefore we should not become impatient. Once we are engaged in devotional service, we are already liberated. And we're not so concerned about details. Details which actually don't matter in the present moment. Yeah? And at the end, everything depends on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Yeah. Whatever Guru wants to reveal to us, he will give us the ability to see, to perceive that. And whatever we are lacking, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will give his mercy at the end. Yeah, that's his promise. So Srila Prabhupada gave us a promise that stick to the principles, chant 16 rounds, and I take care of you to bring you back home to Godhead. That's Srila Prabhupada's promise. And why he can make such a bold promise? Because he follows his Guru, and he follows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who promised that he gives unconditional mercy. Actually, mercy is always unconditional because we never have the qualification. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he bestows his mercy unto us. And that's the special benefit in this age of Kali. And this should make us really sincere and eager, because that's the price, the eagerness. Without the eagerness, nothing will happen. Yeah. We just stay in our comfort zone. And like how many lifetimes we may have already aspired to attain pure devotional service. But somehow we are still here and in the process, which means maybe this lifetime we have to increase the fire a little bit, yeah, to increase the intensity. And that's actually something we're going to speak about on Sunday, on the Sunday Peace class, how to tune up the fire a little bit in this month of Kartik. Hare Krishna. Thank you for asking. Any more thoughts from your side? Some comments? Second question.
Yes. You said, like, also when you asked us how we perceive this, or if we can perceive our soul, and you said, like, we feel bewildered in this world, like in this body. How to attain like a balance? Because I think, or for me at least, it feels like always like you were slapping you left and right, always going back and or up and down, or I don't know, like one way to another, then back and forth and so on. But how does the soul experience this, or does it stay completely neutral, or I don't know, or and how to achieve balance in this way?
Mm-hmm. So you, the soul, you experience, but you experience the world through your material senses, and your senses are connected with the mind. Therefore, at the present moment, your process of thinking, feeling and willing is connected with the mind. Yeah. You don't experience yourself as a pure soul. We have the analogy like a mirror who is covered by dust. So as long as the mirror is covered, we don't see ourselves properly. We can see a reflection in that mirror, but we don't see ourselves face to face.
We don't even recognize it's a mirror.
Yeah.
So much dust.
So much dust. So what's the balance? You know, Sambandha Gyan speaks about 4 principles. The first one is that we are an eternal spiritual soul. The second, Krishna, He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The third, we have an eternal relationship with Krishna as a servant. And the fourth, we are here in this material world to purify ourselves, or to re-establish that relationship. Which means, as long as you're here in this material world and not fully purified or liberated, you're gonna experience the tribulations of this world. And it's meant like this, because it assists you in your process of purification or re-establishing your connection with Krishna. Now, where you can make a difference, and this is what we spoke about, identity. If you see yourself as the victim in the clutches of the material energy, then yeah, you feel you're getting slapped all the time. But if you change the perspective and understand that actually I'm an eternal spiritual soul, I'm here to make an experience, then you take the role of the observer. Like if you stand on the top of a mountain and look down, you have a completely different experience as if you're on the bottom and look up. Yeah. So you take a meta perspective, an elevated perspective. You see your present experience from the level of the soul. And you withdraw yourself from the experience. It's not that you hide or run away, but you take a different position. You see it in a broader context. You see how actually everything makes sense. Yeah? Because you took the position of the soul. You know, when we are in this real pool of material existence, we don't see clearly. But as soon we take a different perspective, the meta perspective, and see from the top, then suddenly everything makes sense, because we see, oh, this led to here and it will go there. So take a step back, change your identification, not change, be in your proper identification as the soul, and see the larger context. And there's a tool which you can use, which is very helpful. It's called the emotional traffic light. Yeah. Because usually when we experience something, there are emotions involved too. And emotions, sometimes they bewilder us a little bit. We don't see clearly through our emotions. What you can do when you feel such a situation is coming up, you switch the traffic light to red. Red means stop. Stop means you give yourself time to choose the proper response to that situation. You're not acting out of impulse or reactive. Yeah? You take a step back, switch to red, say stop. Then the traffic light goes to yellow. Yellow means, okay, how do I want to respond? Do I want to respond from my conditioned situation, or do I want to respond from the position as a soul? So you realign yourself. And once you feel, I have clarity, now I can choose my response. I can be responsible for what I want to give as a response. Then you can switch to green and act on it. Yeah. So try it today and tell me in the evening if it worked. Yeah.
Sounds really nice.
To use the emotional traffic light. Something very easy and practical. I'm gonna ask you tonight.
Please.
Prabhu.
Говорят, что мы энергия пограничная, и мы никогда не были в материальном мире.
They say that we are spiritual souls and we never were in this material world.
Получается, материальный мир, он реально существует, вот эти все тела, они реально есть. И просто мы находимся там.
These material bodies, they somehow exist, but they are not existing. So we are somewhere in spiritual world, but we are here at the same time.
И мы, получается, там находимся, и как от Кришны отвернулись, как задумались.
So it is like we turned out from Krishna, and at this very moment, it's just one glimpse, and we are here in the material world.
Это так ли?
Is it like this, or what can I say?
So you open a topic which is very controversial.
I wanted to ask that also.
Вы начинаете тему, которая очень противоречива.
But if we listen to Srila Prabhupada, it becomes very clear again.
Но если вы послушаете Шрилу Прабхупаду, то это станет очень понятным для вас снова.
Because Srila Prabhupada explains, yes, the soul comes from the spiritual world and falls into the material existence.
Потому что Шрила Прабхупада четко говорит, что да, душа упала в материальный мир из духовной реальности.
And at the moment, it's not that you have one feet in the spiritual world and one in the material.
То есть это не означает, что одной ногой мы находимся в духовной реальности, а другой ногой мы находимся здесь, в материальном мире.
We are at a moment in this 1/4 of Krishna's creation, which is called his separated energy.
То есть мы находимся в материальной энергии, которая отдельно от Кришны.
So we are separated here in this material world from the eternal spiritual world.
То есть в этой материальной энергии мы отделены от той духовной энергии, в которой мы находились.
And the material body which we have is very real.
Материальное тело, которое мы имеем, оно очень реально.
If I'm gonna hit my head on this pillar, I'm gonna feel that very strong.
Я ударю свою голову об эту колонну, то я это очень хорошо почувствую.
And the material energy exists eternally.
Материальная энергия существует вечно.
Why? Because it's Krishna's energy.
Почему? Потому что это энергия Кришны.
And even it appears that at the time of annihilation, material energy is withdrawn.
И если в какой-то момент, could you repeat this?
That it appears that material energy is withdrawn at the time of annihilation.
Elation?
Annihilation, when the universe stops to exist.
Когда Вселенная перестанет существовать, только тогда она перестанет существовать.
This is only temporary.
Это только временно.
Because when Lord Brahma wakes up again, the whole creation starts from the beginning.
Потому что когда Брахма снова родится, тогда и все существование снова начнет существовать.
When Mahavishnu wakes up again, the whole creation is continuing.
И все это творение снова начнет существовать.
So what we experience at the moment is a temporary existence. We are temporary here in this material world.
Поэтому то, что мы сейчас испытываем, мы находимся в этом материальном мире не постоянно, на время.
Because the soul is like a fish out of water at the moment.
Потому что эта душа, она просто на какое-то мгновение существует здесь.
So therefore, as you just said, we never feel satisfied in this material world.
Как только что мы говорили о том, что вы не можете быть счастливы в этом материальном мире.
But we are already since time immemorial, we're going through this experience.
Но с течением времени мы приходим к этому опыту.
And this is the great benefit which we have achieved in this lifetime.
И это огромное благословение, которое мы можем достичь в этом жизни.
That we came in contact with a bona fide guru.
Что мы получили опыт общения с достойным духовным учителем.
That we have come in contact with the Sankirtan movement.
И что мы получили опыт в этом движении.
And even knowing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not like, how to say, maybe you can confirm this, because before I came to the Krishna conscious movement, I had a guru who was from Bengal too.
И даже в сознании Кришны, то есть, например, до того, как я пришел в сознание Кришны именно здесь, то у меня был гуру в другом течении.
And he spoke also about Lord Chaitanya.
И он тоже говорил о Господе Чайтанье.
But he did not understand what is actually the reason for Lord Chaitanya's appearance.
Но он не понимал причины появления Господа Чайтаньи.
Or maybe he understood, but he didn't speak about it.
Может быть, он понимал, но он не говорил об этом.
And therefore it's so important that we speak about what is actually the reason for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance.
Но это очень важно, чтобы мы говорили о причине появления Господа Чайтаньи Махапрабху.
And what great gift and mercy we can receive.
И какой огромный подарок и милость мы можем получить.
Because if we don't come to that realization, our journey will just continue.
Потому что если мы не придем к этому реализации, то просто все будет продолжаться так, как есть.
So therefore, wherever the soul comes from and what is our situation here, it's secondary.
Откуда пришла душа, какая ситуация здесь, это второстепенно.
If the house is on fire, you don't ask, how could that fire start?
Если дом уже в огне, мы не спрашиваем, а как вообще пожар случился.
You just make sure to get out.
Мы просто очень уверены в том, что нам нужно убежать оттуда.
So this movement is a progressive movement.
Поэтому это движение, это вот такое прогрессивное движение.
We have a very clear goal ahead of us.
У нас очень четкая цель в голове, куда нам идти.
And we use our time to engage in that process which will going to bring us to that goal.
И мы должны использовать это время с пользой для того, чтобы достичь этой цели.
What do you think, Prabhu?
Что вы думаете, Прабhu?
Я просто знаю, что, допустим, это что он говорит, это так действительно.
I just know that what you are saying is truth.
Просто что Прабхупада имеет в виду в Бхагавад-гите, он говорит асад, то, чего нет.
But what Prabhupada mentions when in Bhagavad Gita, it is written asad, it is what does not exist.
Yeah, he speaks about para and apara prakriti.
Он говорит о пара и апара пракрити.
But then we should refer to the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Но тогда нам нужно вернуться к Шримад Бхагаватам.
Because Srimad Bhagavatam gives us a deeper understanding about creation.
Потому что Шримад Бхагаватам дает нам более глубокое понимание о творении.
The Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about 10 topics.
Шримад Бхагаватам говорит о 10 темах.
Atta Saga Visagascha. So the first two are all about creation.
Первое это о творении.
And the third, fourth, and even the fifth canto, they are full of descriptions about creation.
И они полны описания о творении.
And there we will understand that creation is eternal.
И тогда мы поймем, что творение, оно вечно.
So asat in that context means it's temporary.
А асад в том смысле означает, что оно временно.
We should end here, otherwise I lose all my credit with you.
Нам нужно заканчивать.
Thank you for your attention, and Kandara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Вы знаете, это самое. Есть 400 тысяч конфликтов человеческих.
Is there like this in the five?
It was nice to see you. I had to reply when you started praising all these Matajis. Where's your praise?
100,000
Very good.
entities, yeah. And 400,000
Should I receive a?
You stay for breakfast?
Oh, yes, sorry. I'm not here. Normally I work here in
So,
but my ego doesn't like it.
are students.
Yeah.
I just know that different planetary systems
Он знает
coming
просто, что
because of
они
him.
живут на разных планетах.
Otherwise, I'm normally
but
watching.
except number.
Но сколько там?
Also, Mangalarti, I was also there.
Не, я могу что, смотри, вот если, допустим, мы говорим,
Depends on when I'm getting up. Even if I'm getting up at 4:30, even brushing my teeth, I'm already put on. Yeah? Okay.
он кого-то съел.
And if I miss it, then the manner starts at 5:30, so that's good.
Ему надо брать.
And if I miss that one, Juhu is also
Уже все
there.
остановится.
Or everything will stop.
And Juhu is recording everything, so I can go back and I can get Mangalarti darshan, I can get Riji darshan, class.
Yeah, I believe that they record
But I mean, understandable because the law of karma.
Radhadesh, I used to watch Radhadesh a lot, but then they disappeared for a long time in the
The
Maya
law of
TV.
karma, if you
Yeah, because
wire
now
the
they
law
have
of
their own
karma.
separate channels.
Oh, really?
Если
Oh.
But on YouTube we should watch it.
Okay, I'll
And I
put
think
it
they
in.
have yeah, Radhadesh TV.
Did you grow up there?
No, I spent some time in Radhadesh.
Они уже амбицион нарушают.
Not a dish, it was back in the early 80s when I was serving Bhagavan. Of course, most of Europe was Bhagavans. It was the zone process at the time. It was very special, very special. Belgium, varieties. There was another some kind of caste that we had also in Belgium. It was used for juicing and otherwise that was always special. To be a young doctor and
Very similar.
senior association.
Harina Sankirtan.
I love him so much. Once he got a new pair of sandals. So we were there on Belgium at this one house. And he wants to give me his shoulder protection because the ones I was wearing were really nasty, were really broken and crazy. Oh, thank you, Maharaj. I put them on my head. I was going to worship them. I was so happy he gave them. And he came and said, and he tackled me. He pinned me. He was pinned up and the shoes on my feet. It was a very good time. Very exciting. Emerald was in France, big castle, huge castle. It was also his car. More than 25 meters. Sannyasis playing catch, but with gulags. Yes. 20 meters throwing a gulag like this, and there's all sannyasis and over there too, like this, waiting, no hands. It was a crazy evening. We went to take a shower and we went directly to Mangalarti. That's how long this party was. I could talk forever on old ISKCON members from the early 80s. Very simple. Okay.
My question. For me, this is like
your family is here now?
No. Going back to the powerhouse. It's very
In Rio, right?
In all my travels now, I was traveling and India is, America is totally, and I think here in Switzerland, it's the right balance. Congregations, but what is that? So nice and the activities.
Language? Going good? Yeah, easy. Your first language? Portuguese?
Portuguese means speaking by hand. What the language is more about?
Yeah, you have Krishna now here also to practice, right?
More about the language. Because, you can go to a temple and then feel like a guest. Or you go to a temple and program which just doesn't exist. And in certain languages, it's really complemented also. And even just one people think it. And this is very special, really great language.
It's true. I'm here more than 40 years. And it's of course, it's had some ups and downs. All of a sudden, no devotees. Hey, where are the devotees? One person is coming for greeting, nobody. And then sometimes times 20 devotees coming at Mangalartik, and I'm like, wow,
What happened?
Then I'll write Krishna Prema Rupa and say, what happened? When you get these guys?
And I think it's the sincerity of the devotees. They don't take it genuine.
Yes.
Are they serious in their process and serious in their
Yeah, it's true. They're obviously very nicely taken care of. Who's making these nice turbans, by the way? Huh? Lokapamani. She's making the turbans like this.
Yes, with these
Wow,
friends.
because I've complimented many times.
This is her style. This is her style of styling them.
This is really
This is
special.
their style.
And I saw she got some makeup on.
Yeah, that's permanent. Now she has red cheeks for a couple of years.
I never saw that before.
Last week I was taking darshan, also I'm taking everyday darshan in Mugaraj Mandir, my Gurudev and Radha Mohan, my Gurudev Swamini, and then one day I was asking, where's Mohan's flute? Yeah.
That's sweet.
And whether, yeah, this is the pujari. And there's one pujari since more than 20 years for taking care of. We have, of course, Radha Mohan, more than one, there are small ones as well, but there's all Sakis and Mancharis are also there. And he's dressing and decorating and putting them to rest in the evening. Wow, very special. Plus we have also Gopeshwari Mahadev Mandir. Have you ever been to Mugaraj Mandir?
No, I've heard about the bull style.
Yeah? You? Must visit. Next time you're in Vrindavan, make a chance. I'll organize Darshan with Gurudev.
Good time.
Are you going to Vrindavan?
No, normally I'm going spontaneous. I can decide this afternoon, oh, okay, I book a flight, tomorrow I go. No, I have until the end of the year, I have too much work.
I too, therefore I leave.
Yeah?
Yeah, I too, therefore I leave.
Yeah. Okay, we go have breakfast?
Yeah.
Huh?
Breakfast is now or it's
Yes, it should be now. I think there was usually bringing
Thank you so much, always nice to see you. Yeah. How are you? Fine. Huh? Very good, thank you. Thanks for coming. Your English is getting, every time we talk, it's getting better and better. But actually, it's your illusion. I think you're just fooling us all.
Yeah.
You always spoke.
I appreciate your kindness, Prabhu.
I want to watch you make one. Yes. One time I was inspired, but I wasn't making them so nice like you. Okay, let me show you. Okay. And like this, huh? Yeah, okay.
Yes, like Anvika.
Yeah.
Reversing.
Aha, oh, you stick it in. This is what I was not doing. Because it won't stay.
No.
Okay.
You did piercing the.
And you're not making your.
Yeah.
There's no.
A lot of nidal to do exactly.
But for it's wet, not wet, huh?
No.
And then after you put it inside the deep,
Yes.
for how long?
30 seconds.
Just a small bit. Yeah, okay.
Akshay, do we need the light?
Finishing 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Then I switch it.
I will. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.